Man, what the fuck is my fucking soy sauce?
Man, shut the fuck up about the soy sauce.
You didn't check the shit? Listen, man, I'm going to tell you just like this, man. Check this out. Since you're making money now, you know what I'm saying? Money, do Torch David. Since you're making money now, I got 5,000. Say, I can knock that light out with this right here.
Well, if you got money now, make it 10,000.
Nah, fuck that. All right, that. Bet it back. Big money.
Oh, good shot, baby.
Give me my money, baby. My money, baby. And welcome to another episode of That's the
F***ing Trailer.
If you don't know what's about to happen, you are out of your mind. We're taking a trip way back to the 1980s.
Paid in full. We are about to get into it today. Before we do, be sure to subscribe. I know for a fact that 75% of you people that are consuming this are not subscribed. Only 25% of you that are watching are subscribed. That is statistically speaking. I could back that up with analytical proof brought to you by our overlords at the YouTubers. So, subscribe. Just hit subscribe. It's that easy. We do new episodes every Thursday, highlights every Tuesday, which brings us to
the fact that you should subscribe.
Yeah.
Do the analytics, damn it. Now,
one movie every week? This week is Paid in Full. Mr. Royal, this was your pick.
Yes, it was. This week we traveled down the cocaine-laced road of Harlem in the 1980s to where we talk about the film Paid in Full. And before we get into a film, we always discuss why we chose the film. And for me, it hit home. Number one, of course, as a lover of film. Number two, it being not just a black film, but a film that basically it told a story to things, the elements and things that I had seen growing up. And so to me, it's one of those times like we always talk about to where the genre crossed into real life, at least for me, and to see people's families affected by drugs and how it just the crowd pot that it could become in a city like Harlem. And for me to see those things, a lot of those things resonated with me, whether it happened, some things that happened in my family, maybe happened to other people's family. It just affected a lot of people. And so we're traveling down the Paid in Full road today.
All right. Sorry. That water hit me in a way I did not expect. Much like the movie did. Segue.
Okay. All right, so normally what we do is, we normally I know what I picked it, but how about you tell us this week? Let's get to our talking points, our discussions during the film. Why don't you tell me what you thought? How about you start it off this week?
Okay, so first of all, they did an excellent job with the set decoration, making sure all that the props were. I mean, doing a film that is
time genre wise,
that is no easy task. Every shot in the background has to be, all the cars, the wardrobes, which were great, especially Ace's wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Ace plays by Wood Harris. Yes.
Yes, and my favorite thing of all about the movie though is the overuse of the word baby. Like, you're a hustling motherfucker, baby. You know me, baby.
Well, that's a New York thing, like God and Son and baby. Hey, what's up, baby? And first, and remember that Successful Failure album.
That's true, because my stepbrother is from like New York, I think, and when Mitch is always washing his shoes and all that.
Played by Mekhi Phifer.
That is my stepbrother to a T. He's always like, gotta keep my shoes clean, baby. And so that checks out. That
Mitch definitely had OCD. He definitely had OCD.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed was the contrast between somebody like him and somebody like Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
The contrast between two people, they both have a lot of money, but the way one flaunts it is more materialistic. The other tries to keep it low. He hides his diamonds in the closet, literally. I thought that was that whole scene when Mitch comes home and he's showing what's his name? What's the kid's name?
I know the kid's name.
This
is gonna be so good.
I got it. Don't
are
tell
you
me.
Sure?
Yeah.
Sunny.
So, okay, yeah.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia, but not apparently in Harlem.
Future money making Sunny. One finger missing, money making Sunny.
Now, if you notice, real quick, but if you notice what Lulu said to him, I don't know if you caught it, he says, hey, man, tell your friend, the drug dealer, hey, give this to him, take him out to the movie sometime.
Yeah.
They basically saying, hey, man, hey.
Well, it was what Ace said in that scene where he's like, yeah, they
dress nice,
they dress
but
nice. They're like loud nice. You're like nice.
Right. And he was like, thank you, my friend.
But you could tell Mitch has an obsession right from the beginning with the nicer things. Like he's showing the kid how to clean his shoes. The way he keeps all his shoes up on the shelf, like showing people when they come in, these are my possessions.
I mean, he walked in on
chains.
He walked in on Sonny cleaning his shoes. Like, nah, that's not how you like. Yeah. Dude, he was like, whoa. Most kids ain't even cleaning their shoes, and he walks in on them. One of the things that really referenced this to me, I was able to. Nobody ever thought I'd be able to tie Coming to America, Shaft, and to Paid in Full. And I know you're wondering how in the hell did I tie those into this, and it's because of the fact that whenever you see someone living in what appears to be a ghetto or a rundown environment or something like that, and then you see all the apartments around them horrible up, and then you walk into their apartment, it's like, whoa. So it was Peoples on Shaft. Of course, it was Akeem and in Coming to America when they got the apartment and they switched with the guy, the landlord. And to me, when he walked into Lulu's apartment, he's like, dude, what's going on here? He's like, you ain't got no car. Like you said, you dress like nice, and you're not loud nice. And, so he was kind of showing him a different way. I think Lulu took a liking to Ace.
Which when I saw Lulu, I was very excited because I remember him from one of the best scenes in La Bamba.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at you, man. I'm not going to lie. When I first saw Lulu again, I thought it was Socks Man. Like, I was like, wait a minute, did he get us? Did he get us and we didn't know? I'm like, that's not Socks Man.
I think my least favorite character, and I think he's probably supposed to be, is Calvin, because he is a motherfucker. Right from the very first scene he's in to the very last time, the last part of his story, he is a motherfucker from beginning to end.
Talk about this motherfucker here. I'm glad I don't got a sister because I would have to kill him. This fucker, first off, it's several scenes with Calvin to where they set up his character to kind of let you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And if there was a protagonist, and also an antagonist, you can kind of see that with two of the characters. Of course, with Ace and Calvin, and then also with Ace and Rico. But let's get back to Calvin for a second. How they're setting up Calvin. Number one, they walk into Mr. Pitts, and if you notice, that's a sign of respect that even kids from our era grow up. No matter how old we get, we still call people that we grew up knowing Mr. and Mrs. So they set it up right from the beginning. But then Calvin and also it was a callback to the movie Fresh. Actually, they did this because in the movie Fresh, the little boy was always taking care of his older sister who was getting pimped out by drug dealers and things of that nature. So to me, when Calvin walks in with Ace's sister, and you know what I'm saying, and he first comes to Mr. Pitt, he was like, man, can you change this? Mr. Pitt, like, nah, they showing you right then and there the element of hardworking man who owns his own business. And we don't even get 30 minutes into the film before Mr. Pitts walk back in and gets his shade revenge. Like, well, I guess your sister's going to have to find a new boyfriend.
Yeah. One of the things that before we get off Calvin, that scene when
dinner?
That was a great scene. Just the way everybody acted around how like he had fear put in people.
The mom said like maybe 4 words, but her presence was so strong in that.
Yeah, you knew how she felt.
Yeah.
But the scene when Calvin's trying to he wants to be out on the corner, not working with somebody. He wants to be doing something, but he's too hot. And he's like when he says, "I'll see you later." You can hear the music go down a note, an octave. You can hear his tone. Like in that moment, I was like, "That's the motherfucker that beat his ass when he walked through the door in the beginning."
Like, let's stay on Calvin for a second. He should have got his ass beat like way early in the movie. This motherfucker tells Ace as he comes back in from a hard day of work. He's trying to explain to him like, hey man, I see you doing your thing. I like that. Let me tell you something, man. He's asking Ace about Mitch's sister. Ace and Mitch's sister are clearly with each other at the time, and so he tells him like, man, look here, man.
Which Regina Hall.
Oh yeah, I bet you didn't see that coming. That's why I didn't tell you.
No, I didn't. But I was very pleasantly satisfied because that brought me back to like scary movie days where she was
Oh, I thought it brought you back to it, like the chocolate wrapped in the white cream or whatever you said that episode. Yeah, with that being said, we'll get back to that. But no, in that same in that same scene, okay, two things happened to where he should have got his ass beat. And they're a combination of both. First, he tells him, like, look, man, this right here, I make $800 a day, $100 a pop. Almost like, even if he was trying to give him advice, he's such a creep that he then says, man, I'm telling you, old girl, she'll suck your dick all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, oh, shit. So to me at that point, he was like, nigga, you trying to tell me my sister sucking your dick all day? That's what he was like, man, your girl will suck your dick all day if you got this money, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, boom, he says that. Then, in case that wasn't enough, after he disrespects his mom, like he gives Ace mom some money for the groceries, and then while she's obviously fixing dinner, motherfucker's like, hey, let's get out of here. Mm-hmm. That's the second ass whooping. And then as he leaves out, I don't know who the cinematographer was on this, but they keep the camera straight. He looks back, he's like, yeah. That's a shady motherfucker. Last thing on Calvin, he has what they call Napoleon complex, because as Ace and Rico, played by Cameron, are arguing with him in the club, they're looking down at him like he's looking up like, all right, man, I'm gonna see you later.
Yeah, like that part could have easily been played by Eddie Griffin if it was a slightly different genre. Mm-hmm. Two things that I loved about this movie. Well, really, there's three things. The main character. Ace, yeah. What's
again?
The
Woods Harris
again?
also
Woods
played
Harris.
in He Got Game.
Okay, and I saw he went on to play in, I think, the Wire.
Oh yeah, the Avon Barksdale, baby.
Okay,
Avon Barksdale, baby.
I'm glad I went to his IMDb. I was very glad to see that he's still working.
Remember the Titans, Creed 1 and 2? You want me to keep going? I'm a human IMDb.
He easily made the movie for me because he was a perfect lead, a perfect straight man to carry everything for everybody to bounce off of. Mm-hmm. And I'll get into that more in a future segment. But the another thing that I really liked about it and that I picked up on was the editing, the way they paced the story out. Whenever there was a big decision that had to be that was made, whenever there was like a cataclysmic event that happened, it would always jump to shortly after that event, and then they'd be like when he finds Lulu dead, when what happens to Mitch happens, any event like that that's big, it jumps right after it, and then you go back and find out how it happened, and it gives you this impression, I think, very successfully, that there is no choice in the lifestyle they're living.
I love that you say that. I mean, because nowadays there would be a choice, but back then I agree with you on that. But as far as you talked about with the pacing, think about the Scarface scene as Mitch is going to go kill old boy. Like Ace is in the movie watching Scarface, but even before that, when Ace first meets Lulu, what you don't remember is that now that's when we first meet Ice. And Mitch is going to go talk to Sonny, and as soon as he walks in, he's like, hey, Mitch, what's going on? He tries to what's up him. He passes right by this motherfucker, almost like some a rat situation and kill. Yeah. But and anything, here's the crazy part about it. The first person we really see Mitch what's up is the person that winds up killing Sonny in the end. Because remember he said Leon did the work. Ice got arrested, Leon did the work. And who the asked for $500,000 in the 80s? What the were they thinking? Like, dude, like at least make it reasonable. Like, man, 50,000, are you getting a finger? Hey. Like 500,000, what the
Go big.
Somebody say, oh, Mr. Big, $5,000.
Speaking of a lot of money, that was the other thing that I really liked about it, was every once in a while it would go to these like abstract, surreal moments where money is raining down on different scenes and like only Ace can see it. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool, and like the final, like the cherry on top of that cake at the end, it pulls you back out of the production and shows them creating that effect for the movie that's being made. I thought that was a really nice touch. I think that singular aspect of it took this movie from like a run-of-the-mill urban film to this is not just shoot 'em up drugs, and this is something that is thoughtful.
And think about it. Like, even think about it too, real quick. Two things. I'm gonna start with Ace and segue and back into how you were talking about the scene with Ace. If you notice, when did you never saw Ace smoke? You never saw Ace really even drinking. That goes for even him. Even though they all were three different people between Rico, Ace, and Mitch, none of them were using their product. Like maybe Rico and Mitch will hit the blunt every now and then, but as far as anything else, they were not like f***ed up with their money and shit like that. But with that being said, two things that I don't think that I know that whoever the cinematographer is or the director is, we know Charleston the third one time for the three. I don't know who idea it was, but I don't know if you caught this. When Mitch, that scene when Mitch lays down after he takes all his clothes off and he lays in the bed and he stares out. If you notice, what to the common man, it looks like he's just staring out into the living room where everything popped off earlier. No, he's looking at the bars. There's only one way out, which is jail. He sees that, like, damn, I'm laying here, and all he can see is some type. Whenever the game's over, he's going to jail. He feels like he can't change it. And then when Ace goes back home and his wife is like, girlfriend's like 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, and he said, "Didn't I tell you I was going to be here?" And she finally goes back to sleep. He looks out his window. His windows are the same type of bars. Like, they're both like, man, because that's why after the fake cops came to him, he was like, man, walls closing in on me. I only see really one or two ways out. He thought it was going to be jail or death. So whoever, and they did it the same way. It's always it was a backup shot. It was like, God, man, somebody really thought about that.
Yeah, and he played it really well because you never knew. He was always kind of inside his own head.
Correct. He's tucking his chain in.
He did a really good job at making that entertaining.
Right.
Without like giving too much away.
And definitely, and one last thing before we go was the simple fact was that he always made it his business to not only just stick to himself. He realized the more people you feed, the less enemies you create. And so he was happy with not making maybe $1 million a week, but maybe making $500,000 a week, because now the other $500,000 bought me security, comfort. People gonna let me know what's going on. But
no, I totally identify with that aspect of him. Like, I've never dealt drugs, but the way that the way he approached the hustle.
That's if you were gonna deal drugs. That's how you would want to deal drugs.
Well, that's how I deal my services. I look at what's out there, like as far as photography, editing, things like that. I undercut the competition.
That's right.
And I still eat all right. So like, by not being greedy, you pick up all the business where most people are like.
And he said he started stealing other people because he had better product at a lower price. He was selling faster and giving more. So yeah, those are the talking points for Paid in Full.
Let's move on to Big Fikes.
Fikes.
All right, here are the facts for Paid in Full. We have 10 for you today. All right, number 10, true story. Paid in Full is based on the story of AZ Faison Jr., Alberto Martinez, and Richard Porter, and their control over much of the drug trade in New York City in the 1980s. Faison is actually a credited writer for an early draft of the film's screenplay.
100% correct, man. Good research.
Number 9, big money. The real-life Ace Boogie made $100,000 per week selling cocaine. That's over $5 million a year.
Right, and then like 30, 40 years later, another rapper named himself that, I guess, in tribute. His name is Ace Boogie.
And I wonder if he really made off with those diamonds. I do wonder how much of the story is true. And
I'm going to say he didn't, because then the attackers would really come back and kill you, because they really want to know where the rest of their diamonds were at.
Yeah.
Which in the end probably got Lulu killed.
Number 8, a dash of creative liberties. AZ Faison Jr., a.k.a. Ace, accused producer Damon Dash of massively altering and watering down the script. According to Faison, his original script was a cautionary tale against drugs, as well as a social commentary on the impact that drugs have had on the black community. Faison said the end result was nothing more than a marketing tool for Dash to promote Cameron, a then newcomer to Dash's label Roc-A-Fella Records.
Well, I have to disagree with that, because number one, when you sell your screenplay, that's just it, you sell it. True Blood isn't the same as True Blood. Books aren't always translated into movies, I mean, the way that the core fans like. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself as a screenplay artist, do you want to see your story being told, or if it's watered down so much, do you want to remove yourself from it? And furthermore, one thing I will say is this is like, I just, at that point in time in life, Cameron as a rapper to me was just like, all right, you're just a run-of-the-mill rapper. So when I found out he was in the film, I was not expecting anything. But when I tell you he literally turned my eye open as an actor myself, I'm like,
Yeah.
This motherfucker can act, and you'd have a longer career in acting than you had in rap. So you might want to think about that, Cam. We're shooting some movies still.
I will say that the end result was a great film, but I have thoughts that kind of correlate with this fact that I'll get into and what we would have changed.
Okay.
Number 7, Half Full. Paid in Full condenses real-life events to span over 7 years into 12 months. For instance, in the film, Ace becomes a dealer in 1986, but this actually happened in 1983 after he saw Scarface. The downfall of the main characters didn't transpire in real life until the years 1989 to 1992. So that goes back to the last fact of how this story was greatly condensed. That there was a lot of liberties taken to take what happened in 7 years transpire in the course of a year. And again, that's something I'll get into more on what I would like to see change.
Hollywood's been whitewashing for years. Put Will Smith with a Latina. He can't be with a strong black woman. It's not going to sell.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd put it out there. I got you, Will. I got you.
Number 6, A Time and Place. When Mitch and Ace are talking in the red BMW, if you look in the background, you will notice what appears to be a 90s model Ford Explorer, as well as a second-generation Nissan Pathfinder, which didn't hit the streets until 1995. Who knew that Paid in Full was actually a science fiction film featuring time travel? What they should have had was the DeLorean in the background.
Flux capacitor. That would have been dope. Shout out Doc Everett Brown.
We don't need roads.
Where we're going, I'll get them, guys. Don't worry about it.
Number 5, Tribute. The World Is Yours logo on the coffee mug. When in the bathroom when what's his fucking face comes and beats the shit out of Mitch. Yeah, that hit the mug in his bathroom. That is a
direct callback.
Yes, to the Cook Tours logo from the 1932 original Scarface.
Mm-hmm. Good job, man. Very good job. Product placement, not even product placement, just very good product placement.
And it looks like they kind of they like made that like because it kind of looked like it was recently.
Melded together. Like, yeah, I did see that. Like we got
our
witness thing before.
Screen print or something that was just like, that shit on. It's a good idea.
It's a sticker, yeah.
Number 4, Yeezus Approves. A poster for Paid in Full can be seen in Kanye West's 2005 music video for Through the Wire.
Well, of course. I mean, at that point in time, he had just been given his Roc-A-Fella chain a few years prior to that, and he was down with the camp, so yeah.
That's probably true. It's probably more of a Roc-A-Fella placement than a Kanye
placement.
Choice.
But he still approves. Well, Yeezus does.
Yeah. Number 3, For Real? Cameron stated that he really wanted the part, so he went for a wow factor at his audition. How did he do this? He brought his real gun from home and waved it during his reading. So actors out there, if you really want the part, hold your casting directors hostage at gunpoint.
One, just hearing that, one must really want to think, who's acting, Rico or Cameron?
Yeah. Well, and I found that out in an interview that he did before I saw the movie, which only added to like the
mystique
of upness of Rico. Like, oh, this guy really is a wild card. The guy that's playing this guy is a wild card.
There you go. Great casting.
Number 2, Paid in Full. And that joke will make sense when it's.
Well, you didn't even say it right. It still sounds like you said full.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah.
It says full.
Paid in Full.
No, it says fool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it'll make sense when it comes up on the screen with the 2 O's.
Ah, damn it. Why didn't you tell me that? He's doing editor's choice again. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Number 2, Paid in Full. Full. Producers apparently got the last laugh. In 2016 interview, Cameron stated that he was paid just $8,500 for his part in the film. However, he said he was grateful just to have the opportunity so early in his career, having just released his first album.
I didn't realize that he had did that. For some reason, he had done so many mixtapes and other things like that. I didn't realize it was his first album. But yet again, I think it's his best acting part I've ever seen.
Well, and I heard that they shot the movie in 2000, even though it wasn't released till 2002. So he may have had more out by the time that the movie came out. But
okay, something tells me, never mind.
Number 1, Not Full Yet. So I know you're going to love this one because you love sequels. A sequel to Paid in Full just might be in the works. In May of this year, Cameron revealed during an IG Live with Pandora's J1 that he is currently in talks regarding a follow-up to the 2002 cult hit. How in the hell that would even happen, I don't know. And I also have an alternative that I wish that they would, an alternative route that I wish that they would do instead. Again, I will get into that and what I would like to have changed in this movie.
Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. I definitely fucking hate sequels. And first and foremost, like, who wants to see Rico after how he went out? Like, motherfucker said, now listen, I ain't snitching on nobody from Harlem. Now I give you some cats getting busy in DC, but when I come home, I'm still gonna be the king, and thus the confidential informant was born. Thanks, Cam.
All right, and for this episode's special segment of Big Facts, since we are dealing with a drug-oriented film, we have top 10 drug films. Now, these do not have to be specifically about drugs. Drugs don't have to be the sole focus, but they do have to be a driving factor. It could be pro-drugs, it could be cautionary tales, it could be stoner comedies. Pretty much the only running theme is that drugs play a large role in the movie. There might even be some titles in here where drugs don't play a large role in the movie, but the drug community has embraced the movie for its
I know Vanilla Sky is on this list because only the drug community would embrace that.
And no, Vanilla Sky is not on this list.
All right, whatever.
Here we go. Number 10, Enter the Void. Gaspar Van Noe is known for his totally immersive brand of envelope-pushing filmmaking, and Enter the Void is like a normal Gaspar Van Noe film, took psychedelics. It follows an American drug dealer as he observes a series of events after his death through an out-of-body experience. And I believe it all appears to be one shot.
Well, damn.
Yeah,
there was some drugs used for that. Just hearing that name, I don't even believe I've ever seen that film, but it sounds like White Boy Rick. 20 years later, he's older or something like that.
It makes you feel like you're on. You don't have to take drugs to feel like you're on drugs. And
why do I want to watch that?
Kind of like that one is number 9, Requiem for a Dream. Darren Aronofsky's. Okay, so Darren Aronofsky plus drugs equals pure insane madness. It is as stomach-turning as it is beautiful. The score is as ear-f***ing as it is ear-make-loving. The editing and cinematography are fantastic, and it kind of makes you feel pretty good about yourself with that harmless devil's lettuce addiction of yours compared to all the shit that's going on in that movie.
By devil's lettuce, do you mean marijuana?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
The stuff?
Loud.
Bob Vila's friend?
Number 8, Friday. Friday is damn near perfect. It's like if John Hughes directed an urban comedy. The familiar stereotypes, the quiet underdog hero, the girl of his dreams, the bully that gets it in the end, and one memorable moment after another. It is a treat that stands the test of time.
It really probably is a top 3 marijuana flick.
Oh, yeah, we'll see when we get to the top 3. This was a very hard list to put together because drug films are usually done to such a high quality, a high standard.
True.
Number 7 is Pineapple Express.
Over Friday. Are you saying it's not in any order, right?
No, this is in my biased order. All right. So and hear me out, because Pineapple Express is Seth Rogen, James Franco's defining role that arguably helped change the trajectory of his career, star in this genre-bending stoner comedy that is effectively so much more than just a stoner comedy. There are real stakes here, real suspense, real action, all while staying true to the hilarity of a stoner comedy, even in those suspenseful moments when people are getting murdered.
So his foot sticking through that window is funnier than Smokey and Debo's chicken coop with the cage with the birds.
There are definitely moments of Friday that are funnier than Pineapple Express, but overall, and I'm also looking at it from a filmmaking perspective. I think Pineapple Express broke the mold for stoner comedies and said a stoner comedy can also be like a really well fleshed out action film.
Cheech and Chong might have something to say about that. Let's roll.
Number 6, Super Troopers. Broken Lizard comes out the gate swinging with this hilarious stoner comedy that you 100% quoted if you were a teenager in the early 2000s.
I agree. I love. Hey, somebody want a mustache, right? You want a mustache, right?
Littering end.
Hey, what's one?
Littering end.
You say meow. What?
Yeah.
What?
Number 5, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If there were a drug use simulator, this is it. And I'm sorry, this is Terry Gilliam. I didn't realize that he did that movie. But again, terrific films, terrible people. Can we separate the art from the artist?
Oh, always. He's just still an asshole.
Yes.
A racist asshole.
Yeah.
But I mean, after that list you dropped last week, me saying racist asshole is like PG-13 after that list you just dropped.
And really, I'd credit Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas to Hunter S. Thompson because it's based on his novel, and it stays true to his novel. Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro fit all too comfortably into the chaos of their roles. It's not a movie that I go to watch just for the hell of it, because it is a commitment to get into. It's almost like you're taking drugs and you have to go along for the ride.
I mean, think of it. When has Benicio del Toro ever let you down?
Never.
Me either.
Never. Number 4, A Scanner Darkly. Richard Linklater's film, based on the avid drug user Philip K. Dick's novel of the same name, takes place in a dystopian future where a good portion of the population are addicted to a drug called Substance D. The film's rotoscoped animation style and metaphoric themes throughout creates the perfect blend of visual and mental stimulation to go with a good sativa smoke.
Substance D.
That
Depression.
movie is that movie is a conversation starter, especially if you smoke the blunt before, while, and after watching it. It'll f you up.
Okay.
Number 3, Easy Rider. Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, Jack Nicholson, road tripping across the states. Dennis Hopper also directed the film and made the decision to use real drugs in the film to add to the authenticity. But what really sets this film apart for me is the minimalist yet trippy style of abrupt cut editing and the out-of-the-box cinematography that Easy Rider boasts. Definitely one of its kind. Number 2, Big Lebowski. Not technically a movie about drugs, but come on. The dude, Walter, Donnie. It is a classic from the Coen brothers, and I don't trust someone who has not seen this movie and also loved it.
I know you're getting ready to do your honorable mentions, but the fact that I'm looking at your honorable mention and American Gangster is not on there is such a disappointment.
This was a hard list to put together. There's so
hard
many
drugs
good
or
ones.
what? I mean, what are we talking about?
So here are my honorable mentions. Train Spotting, Dazed and Confused, Traffic, Blow, The Basketball Diaries, Half Nelson, Grandma's Boy, Dude, Where's My Car, How High, Half Baked, I Love You Alice B. Toklas, Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and Spun. Alright, number 1, The Trip. This is in the 60s, around the same time that Easy Rider came out. Jack Nicholson wrote it, Roger Corman directed, Peter Fonda brings it to life. The premise is simple yet twisted. A salesman takes LSD for the first time. Let the show begin. Like Easy Rider, there are fantastic techniques born out of the limitations of early cinema. It is an inspiring movie to watch if you're an aspiring filmmaker. It shows that you can accomplish something very interesting using a lack of budget to your advantage with a little imagination and a lot of out-of-the-box thinking, and probably some authentic drug use as well. So that is my list for the top 10 drug films plus some honorable mentions. You guys let me know in the comments what was missed here, and what do you think I missed right now besides American Gangster?
No, that's what I wanted to lead with was American Gangster, because it was tough. I mean, because it's such a film about, not only was he dealing, again, because we're talking about Paid in Full, he was dealing drugs in Harlem.
That's one of Denzel Washington's straight to DVDs, right?
Negative, boy. Negative. See, he's fucking with me now. I'm not going to let you do this to me. So anyway, I thought you would have it on there because he was selling drugs in Harlem. We're doing Paid in Full, which is in Harlem. Furthermore, he was using you had the military propaganda aspect of it, to where he was getting the purest stuff from out the country, but he wasn't just bringing it in. No, he was bringing it in the coffins of dead soldiers. Like, that's a story unbeknownst to itself.
I'm going to have to watch it. It probably would have been on the list.
He wound up snitching a little bit like Cameron did. He like, yo, because when I come home, I'm still going to be king. He came home and still got caught selling drugs later in real life. If that's not a movie, I don't know what the is.
Yeah, okay. I mean, had I seen it, it probably would have made the list, but I have not seen that one yet. Sorry.
We'll see you in season 2, guys.
All right, that is Big Fikes. We are moving on. What do we got next?
and this is where we tell you our favorite scenes of the film. And I am going to go ahead and start because I know you guys are wondering, number one, well, half my nipple has been exposed like Janet Jackson, and his chest is as bare as a bird that was used during the living weight reference. So with that being said, we are rocking these robes for one man and one man only. Mr. King Rico. Rock 'em and sock 'em. Go get 'em. No pain having. All go Harry Stamper. Rico here. Man, look here, man. Hey, let me tell you something. This is going in my top three. No matter what film we do this season, this is going in my top three scenes still, or 7 Minutes of Heaven all season. I'm telling you that right now.
Wow, high praise. Okay.
Okay, listen. It's one thing to go third person verbally. It's another thing to go third person visually. I think he may be the first person on earth and in film to ever go sixth person. It's when your three egos are like appreciating your other three egos. Okay, I'm just going to make this short and sweet. We only have so much time in this segment, but it, he wouldn't mind anyway. Cameron, that plays the character Rico. First off, let's start with the fact Rico's in the club with a fucking robe on. Like, at that point, like, this was a conscientious decision. He didn't get robbed. Nobody threw it over him last minute. Like, hey, man, we got to get you back home.
Nobody pulled him out of the driver's side window of their car and made him strip down to
so you must have saw my book. So, okay, yeah, you saw the book. So we'll get there. So Rico, the same Rico that he's mentioning, is in the club with the robe on. Okay. Not even okay. I can't even let that ride. High, drunk, sober. I can't let that ride. But Rico has a robe. Okay, let's pass that. The only reason that you can actually take your eye off the fact that Rico's wearing this robe is because you see a bunch of people crowded around him like they're in the amphitheater of or watching a football game or something. And then we cut to the TV in the club. And who else do we see? Not Rico, ravishing Rico.
Yeah.
Rico, with his clothes still on, is giving this chick the business. I'm talking about whatever he's got, however many inches is in Rico, he is giving it to her. Not only is he giving it to her, he is pouring champagne all on it. He's just and then as he's doing this, he tells his friends in the club, "Look at me."
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Look, no, f that. No, this is Rico. We don't worry about that. This is what he does. Then as he's telling his friends, look at him.
Man, you're drawing too much attention. Be cool.
Hey man, f that, man. What the f you got movie soldiers for if you can't use them? So then he's this bitch pouring champagne on it. He said, "Look at me, you see what I did? I hit the Dougie on that bitch." He did the Dougie as he's doing the Dougie.
Which means he's seen this a few times.
Yes. So he successfully went sixth person for the first time a human has ever done that. All three of his egos, him, the person he thought he was, and the person he was talking about, had a conversation in the club with the robe on. You, my friend, are 7 minutes in heaven. Damn, 7 inches in heaven. You get it, Rico.
That scene brought me back, too, because this was before the days when you could just upload something or send something to your friends. You had to bring a VHS. And
his editing skills.
Watch this while I'm here. Yeah.
Rico the editor.
Not to mention Rico the director. You saw him directing the girl during the scene.
Now move that. Yeah. Move that. Y'all see when I hit my dugout? God, Rico.
I'll give that to Cameron because as up as a character he is, he also accounts for some of the most hilarious moments while still being a up character.
Kermit, he called him up. He had on the big glass and he was small and he was green. That's why he called him Kermit. He
shoots the dude in the ass. Get the out of here. He shoots him in the ass.
But you didn't get our first Sesame Street reference. He calls Calvin Kermit because he's small and green. Like, you call him, you a green mother. Like, you're small and green. What you doing, Kermit? And he says it to him when he kills him. Hey, Kermit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. That shit just got me way too excited.
I like the scene, and we kind of talked about this earlier with Lulu and Mitch, the scene that kind of drove the difference between them. When you see Mitch talking to Ice in the corner store at the same time that Ace is talking to Lulu up in the apartment, that was like the first taste you get in the movie of like this editing style where you're getting like two things simultaneously, and there's like cues after that point, like, oh, these are poetically put together for a reason. They're not just because they're happening at the same time. Sometimes they're not even happening at the same time. They're put together because they're meant to give you as the audience this like yin and yang.
It's a poetry feel to it because poetry is not a story straight through. It gives you callbacks and things of that nature. And furthermore, when you see that, to me, what was more important about the scene you just brought up is what we always talk about, character development. You see them showing the choices they're making, why they're making. Like you see Lulu respecting Ace because Lulu, at the end of the day, Lulu and Ace were the same person. And he was like, it's basically without saying it, I just hate crappy movies where they tell you, hey man, I like you. I'm gonna put you under my wings. Don't spoon feed these.
Yeah.
I can tell that he liked them. So yeah, that's definitely a good scene, man. For me, it's kind of a segue to because I know we go back and forth with 7 Minutes in Heaven here. To me, it was not a callback to, but I don't think they had anything to do with each other. So I'm not going to say the writers or somebody had influenced off the film. But me looking at Training Day, and in Training Day, when Denzel goes to see the wise men. You know, that meeting of the judges, all these corrupt people or whatnot, it likens to me because, think about it now, this is what most people don't understand. When we started the film, Ace, and this is why it's one of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene. I mean, when we start the film, we see Ace go to the hospital, he's bloody and everything, he looks, and you mentioned the money falling down. Money just didn't fall down in the club. He says later on in the film, I've been seeing this light for a while now. So point being is, do you know where he's looking at when that money's falling down at the beginning of the film?
That's outside the laundromat, right?
Correct, but what's right across the street?
I don't know.
The place Lulu took him.
Oh,
That's where the Italian, the Colombian, that's where that's that spot. So ironically, you had one job on this side of the street, you had one job on the other side of the street, but that's not why it's the scene. It's the scene to where, first off, Lulu liked you, like, and to him back in those days, he was a Muliano. Fucking Ace is a Muli. You go into that fucking Muli, you know what I'm saying? They even referenced that later. Oh, you're a funny guy. It definitely was a Goodfellas reference in there. They called back. You're a funny man. You're a funny guy. But with that being said, he goes in there. He shows, number one, that Ace always showed he was a businessman. He brings back, like, he said 23 long or $20. He brings them back, like, a lot of fucking money. And, like...
He was smart, though. He always kept he was like, he kept some diamonds for himself, too.
Because he didn't know how it was going to go.
Yeah.
He didn't. And that's the thing. I don't even think he kept them on him. He kept them where somebody in his family could find them. But he sits down and has that meeting. And you see that one wild card motherfucker. I wish we got to find his name to do the one. Like, hey, what you doing? I'm like, I like him. He was finna pop this motherfucker. That's their so. What you got? That was their Rico.
He probably wasn't even told to do that. That was probably natural instinct that came out.
Right, like you're right. But you need motherfuckers like, what the fuck you got soldiers for if you can't use them? Rico.
That was a great line too.
Yeah. So he comes up to him, and like he hasn't known them for 5 minutes. And they basically have that round table meeting to where he trusts Ace so much he gives him 14 keys and said, just go do your thing. Like, to me, that doesn't happen in everyday life. First off, he brought the money back, which their mind up, and what me up was, even if he didn't bring the money back, they didn't even look like they was finna miss it.
They weren't looking for it, clearly.
Okay, yeah, so yeah.
They were surprised that it came back to
right,
them.
like, okay.
Yeah, when, no, that's my honorable mention. So my number 2 is when Mitch throws Ice out of his mom's house. I thought that scene was so powerful because...
You said when Mitch throws Ice?
Yeah. When he comes in and he beats the shit out of him and throws him out.
But you know who Ice is to him, correct?
Would that be his... I took it as just his mom's friend.
No, that's his actual uncle.
Oh, okay.
So that delves that relationship to
So that makes that scene even more powerful. The way that Ice is talking to him and the way that he's talking about Sonny.
Correct.
And that was
guess what? He used to be Sonny. Mitch used to be Sonny, and guess what? Ice was still there, and Ice was supposed to do for Mitch what Mitch was doing for Sonny. And see, if you notice that one scene, they didn't say it, but I know Mitch grew up seeing Ice tie off in the bathroom and get up on drugs. So when he comes there and he sees fucking Sonny laid out on the thing sleeping, he's like trying to figure out who the watching Sonny, and the first thing you see is him open the door. Notice he's tied off. As soon as he opens that door, he's like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, he hit an insecure part of Mitch in that moment.
Because he said he's going to be just like you.
Yeah, and you could tell that Mitch was not angry really with Ice. He was angry with himself because, and you find out at the end, he's not in it for the money. He's in it because he feels like he needs that approval, that acceptance from everybody.
Talking about a 4 drugs ago, this motherfucker, like, I'll get to that later. Remind me to come back to that. Go ahead. So for me,
so that was definitely my number 2.
Okay. So for me, one of the scenes, and I think it's on yours too, so we might as well both talk about it. Rico yet again makes an appearance in one of my top 7 minutes in heaven because top scenes. At this point, Kermit the Frog then already stole his homeboy. Well, not his homeboy. His assailant is Ace's money. They out there. They hungry. You know what I'm saying? That all this shit's going on. The dude pulls up. It's like, hey man, y'all. Like it wasn't a dude trying to buy drugs for him to use. He wanted to buy drugs to go sell to somebody else. They were like, man, ain't nothing right now. The equivalent of ain't nothing in the 80s. Basically, ain't nothing right now. Yeah. And dudes keep talking like, come on, man. And now this is Rico still being somber. Rico is never somber. He was like, hey man, I just told you, man, it ain't nothing. And then, oh boy, Rico's the type of person that never needs drugs. He just needs a little bit to feel like he's trying. That motherfucker say, man, damn, Calvin got y'all shook. Listen, dude, I've seen a lot of movies. Anytime I've seen somebody really get pulled out of a car, I'm not saying he used one hand, but to me, it looked like he reached inside of a car, pulled this man out. Put it this way, in the history of film, no one's ever been pulled out of a car and derobed in 12 seconds.
Yeah.
He said, give me the sneakers too.
That's what, so they set Rico up so well because, like I said, he was an enjoyable character to watch, but he was also terrifying because you would see literal joy come upon him when the more he was with somebody, like he was diabolical and he took joy in it.
Well, speaking of that, when you say diabolical, I bet you didn't think that we were going to get a Harry Potter reference in this episode, but this is how good we are here at TTFT, where David and Tarian are so good at film that we're the only ones on the entire planet that can make a paid in full and Harry Potter reference. Here we go, kids. Wouldn't you know that the one reason why I could connect these two, let's just say Ace was Gryffindor. Who was Rico? Slytherin. Think about it. Equally as powerful from a certain aspect, but think about it from the moment I talked about last week. We talked about how they set Worm up from the beginning. It took a couple of people to set Worm's character up. It only took Rico to set Rico's character up. Now that's the brilliant part about it. Between Mitch, Ace, and Rico, they all had beautiful minds in different ways. But with that being said, we first meet Rico. Rico had his ears to the street. So while Rico is in jail, he hears that Mitch is coming to jail because he murdered that dude. So Mitch comes to jail. He realizes he has to befriend Mitch because he's getting back out. Rico has to befriend Mitch because Rico is trying to get close to Ace, and Rico knows he's going to get out before Mitch to even try to have something to meet Ace. So everything Rico pretty much did for the most part was always calculated. You saw he was always trying to get that DC connect. It was never enough for him. While Mitch didn't do it for the money. Yeah, Mitch loved his money, but he really loved the acclaim, the crowd cheering. Rico was all about the money, and Ace was all about being quiet. So it's almost like a Gryffindor, Slytherin, Muggle-born syndrome. Because Mitch was Muggle-born, and then we started getting money. He was like, I can't stop. We'll keep going for that. So that's my Harry Potter reference.
They're all definitely they approach it three very different ways, but they all have the same goal for three very different reasons.
Correct.
Or at least that they'll accomplish the same outcome, but for
I don't think they all have the same goal. No.
Well, I mean, the same. They can accomplish the same. They can accomplish the same job.
They can accomplish their goals using the same common denominator. I agree.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. They're like you said. One wants the acclaim. One wants the money. One wants the security, and just to be all right and take care of everybody around them.
It was eerily similar to if you've ever seen Belly. DMX is like they rolled DMX's character they rolled Mitch and Rico into one for DMX character in Belly, and Nas was Ace.
Okay, yeah. My honorable mention before I get to number one is the when Mitch goes up to the dealer on the stoop and the dealer got robbed. And he's like, well, first, Mitch him out, but the best part was when he's...
Don't go that way.
But yeah, don't go that way, go that way. Like, what the why does it matter which way? This is
because
New
you've
York.
been making the wrong decision all
Oh, so he just assumed. Yeah, whatever way you decided to go the other way.
Because you've been making a bad decision. Now here's the part about here's the good part about why this is beautiful. I didn't even know you had that scene, but an important part about that scene was this. Think about what he said. Before he said, "You ain't eating. Get out of here. Go find him. Until that, you ain't eating." What happens at the beginning of the movie when he loses the bet? He ain't had the money. You ain't eating. He took his Chinese food and stuff. So it's the callback.
And the way it goes, that scene, that's the scene that goes directly into the retaliation. That's timed right up with Scarface going, "Say hello to my little friend."
Yes,
that was great.
So here's the thing: real quick before we get out of this part, because I know if Mitch doesn't go retaliate, he doesn't go to jail, he doesn't meet Rico, most of that shit never happens.
All right, so my number one scene is they found Mitch. That scene is so powerful with Regina Hall. Her performance, and not just because I have a crush on her, but I think there's the reason why that scene is so powerful is because it's so familiar to how we are accustomed to getting horrifically horrible news in reality. In most cases, it's not firsthand. In most cases, we're finding out after the fact, very similar to, for me personally, it brought me back to the phone call with Jeff's mom, where we've been looking for him for 3 days, and you get the phone call, and it's like, it's one of the, you're getting information that you should have been prepared for in some way, but when the information comes, it's still blindsiding, and there's no way that you could have ever prepared for it. And that moment captured that emotion and that heartbreak so perfectly. So, like, it was, you could feel it, you could touch it.
The blocking in that scene was top notch because, again, we get him walk in with the one shot, and then it shows you, like, to me, so much emotion going on in that scene. And at first I'm like, okay, some overacting is finna come on Woods Harris' part. But then you realize, like, no, that's exactly how you're not yourself when you get that news. Just not who you are. And then when he falls down against that wall, you see, it's like, damn, they're on different sides of what's going on, but it shows you, like, they're all hurt. And then again, the sucker punch was like a scary movie. They make it seem scary, then nothing happens, and all of a sudden, damn, bitch. That is so wait a minute, he walks in, and what does he say? Damn, they found Sonny. So he's getting ready to break down about Sonny.
And you're ready for that.
Yeah, but
and then they're like, nope, blindside, here comes the left.
Boom.
And it knocks you out.
But here's the crazy part about it. What they're not letting you know, like, the common audience would stop just there and say, well, okay, he thought it was Sonny, and it was one of his best friends, pretty much my best friend Mitch. And see, another thing I want to talk about with that dynamic real quick, and I'm glad that you said that was your top scene, because I wasn't going to say that, but I'm loving that you said that, because all through the film you saw there were the two best friends, even when all three of them were taking pictures in the club. Rico was never next to Ace. It was always Mitch in between them. Go back and look at it. You never really see them together. But my point was this: is that what you didn't understand was this: like, he was losing his best friend. Furthermore, at that moment, he knew, because he gave him he knew who killed him.
Yeah, and that goes back to the awesome storytelling, the way the movie was cut. That's what made that scene so powerful. Is you walk into a scene, you find out that Mitch died, and then you get the double sucker punch when you go back and find out that it was Rico that did it. When of course you're going to assume that, but to see it actually happen, you already know how it's going to play out, and that scene is still powerful to watch him do it. And then the gratifying moment on the basketball court,
which we'll get to.
Okay.
But the foreshadowing happened before that. Did you notice in the club? But see, me, this is why I say you can be a film watcher or a filmmaker, but it's hard to be both, because I found myself watching the film, and you at certain points you still gotta, and I know me and you do it now. We'll be watching the film we've seen 100 times, be like, oh snap, we're looking at it from the block, and we're looking at this point in the club scene where Rico is showing that whole, like, when Ace comes up to him like, man, why you gotta be like this? So to me, Ace gotta handle him. He's getting ready to handle Calvin, but once again, cinematography blocking. As he's saying this to Rico, this is when I knew Rico was going to be. I mean, we all knew Rico was going to be the demise of him. But as Ace is trying to tell him, man, chill out. He's like, that's what I do. That's what I do. He was like, man, nah, see, that's the problem. He was like, what's the problem? He like doing a little rolling like his mindset is that of a kid.
Yeah.
He's rolling his eyes like this mother. Like the Ace's story for everybody. Like, you eating. What's the problem? And I firmly believe, I don't know if you remember this scene, I think it was a setup, because again, he was always slithering. Rico was slithering. Remember when Rico came to Ace sitting in the car just like this? Was a call back to Jay-Z sitting in the car in State Property, because that's how Jay-Z was sitting in the car, another Roc-A-Fella film just like that. They got Ace sitting in the car the same way. Rico comes up to Ace like, say, man, I heard something. This dude right here was trying to set you up. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to gain more loyalty to him. When he probably told that dude, like, man, he was never trying to set Ace up, and he shot a dude in the ass.
Yeah.
And that was the scene I was talking about where Rico had his name on his shirt 3 times. What the Rico? Gee, and hey, what's also funny about that, Rico? I know we're going to the next segment. What's the crime they call it when you conspire with a whole bunch of people and a crime is committed?
Isn't that the Rico Act?
And that's why I'm here.
That's funny. Yeah. All right. That concludes 7 Minutes in Heaven. What do we got next, Mr. Royal?
What do we have next, David? I'll tell you what we have next. We have scene stealers. And what we're talking about, are you a female? Are you a male? Are you whatever you identify as? And you're really dope at what you do when it comes to being on screen? Well, this is the category for you. We're going to start with Mr. Polanski. Who was your scene stealer for Paid in Full?
All right. First, I got 3 honorable
Jesus
mentions.
Christ.
Mekhi Phifer, of course.
Okay.
Love him.
Honorable mention.
He's great in this. Okay. Especially his role in this was perfect for him because it reminded me of kind of like his role as Future. He is a ray of sunshine cheerleader for whoever he decides to get behind. Like the way, oh, I see the car, baby. I see that chain, baby. I see you shining, baby.
This baby really got you, didn't it?
Yo, baby, yeah, dude.
Nobody puts baby in a car.
Regina Hall, because I just love her, and she's just...
She cried at the drop of a dime. That came out of nowhere.
And that scene at the diner and with her and Ace was really cool, too. She's like, you know,
that money don't impress me.
And I'm with you because I'm boring, too.
Now give me that money.
Yeah. My last honorable mention is Chi McBride, Pip. Great character. I think he was essential for the...
You talking about Mr. Pitt?
Yeah. No, Pip.
I'm sorry, I said Pitt. No, it's Pitt. I'm with you. That's what I said you watched the movie.
Damn it. Picture in picture. That was a great character, a very necessary character. I don't know if it was...
Why did it feel like the dude that played Charles Dutton played that?
I feel like Forrest Whitaker could have rocked that role. But
don't do that shit. You're trying to make up for that Black Panther you pulled. You're not a Forrest Whitaker fan.
He'll never see it coming. But no, Chi McBride was great as that part. It was a nice grounding character amidst all the chaos that's happening in the movie. But my number one, and before I put him on the board, quick catch up. Episode 1, we did Black Panther. That's Okoye. Episode 2, we did Tenet. That is our friend Robert Pattinson. Episode 3, we did The Living Wake. Mike O'Connell goes on the board for The Living Wake. Episode 4, we did Rounders, and we got old downsizing Matt Damon over here over Edward Norton.
Not Dogma, you went downsizing?
He had to go downsizing. That was his decision that he made, not me. This episode, I will be putting on the board Wood Harris. Cool, subtle, quiet, powerful. He is like the Donald Glover before Donald Glover. He's like...
That's high praise.
He's like the embodiment. He reminded me of his demeanor, his cool, quiet demeanor kind of reminded me of Mos Def. Like, I feel like he could be if Mos Def wasn't an actor and couldn't play himself in a biopic, Wood Harris would be a perfect surrogate for that. I think like I said before, he carried the movie perfectly. He was the perfect character, the perfect character to like for all the craziness to bounce off of without him being too affected by it. He as the lead, he let everybody else shine around him, and he kind of observed, like took the position of the audience, and you just kind of get his reaction to everything is kind of matching what yours is, just kind of taking it in, learning as you go, being cool about it. Wood Harris, yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I just find it funny that less than probably Tenet time here a week ago, we did this again, and your reasons were the exact opposite. So I'm gonna have the fans decide who the real David Polanski is because
what are you talking about?
Because last week, yeah, that's right, exactly. Scratch that head. Last week, I said I wanted Matt Damon, and I told you the reason why. I'm like, he centralized the character. He had to deal with all these people. Emoji. He was the perfect confident, and you were just sitting over there like might have well been twirling your hair or something. And so then you come back. Did you watch our show from last week and then get inspired to this is what you look for in film now? But it's okay.
No, I already told you last week. I had a very biased reason why Matt Damon wasn't my choice. It was I agree with everything you said. It was only because he made me want to watch Good Will Hunting.
You did say that. Now you did say that, and not Downsizing.
I have not watched Downsizing.
Okay, I guess we won't be doing that during season 2. For me, and you said before the show, and guys, as you always know, complete transparency. You should make us invisible now, but no more work for you editing. That we talked about before the show. You said that you thought that we would have the same character or the same artist, and I'm here to tell you that we don't.
Damn it.
Now, I'm going to pull my David Polanski here. While I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said, it's not even going to take me as much time we have left. I know you guys see our little PlayStation reverse meter here backing up going forward, but it's not who you think it is, or should I say it's not that person, but I agree with everything you said. What's funny is, it's not even funny. For me, I have a name in here, and I'm gonna say it I want to say it the way I put it in my book here to do it the correct way. I have Money Making Mitchell Mackay Pfeiffer as my top artist for this, and I'll explain why. To me, I guess I you can call me biased or whatnot, but to me, like, Ace's tasks weren't simple, but he was so mentally prepared. He was gonna do good at whatever he did. Ace could have been, like he said, they joked about it. Maybe you'll be like George Jefferson, have the cleaners. Maybe you'll do this. Maybe nobody ever says you're going to be dead in jail. Even when Ace started selling drugs, no one ever dropped that cliche, you're going to be in dead or jail reference. So everybody knew, even Rico knew, they all knew Mitch was going to be all right, which is why Mitch had to I'm sorry, they knew Ace was going to be all right. Ace had to respect the Colombians, the hood, everybody except Calvin.
I got shot in the head, baby.
Yeah, this motherfucker is this Tombstone? Is he Kurt Russell walking across this fucking waterway and 30 bullets coming in? I mean, good Jesus. Talk about the Matrix.
It affected me. I'm gonna be walking different, thinking different. Yeah, damn right it affected you. You got shot in the fucking head, baby.
Several times. Oh, speaking of that, you made me think about something. Oh, real quick before I go into the Mackay thing. Think about that one scene like that. It's not a jib shot. Clearly, somebody put a camera up on the top. But think about it. He saw his child's mother, and I believe it was his mom. It doesn't show who the other lady is. At least I don't remember who the other lady was. But they're laying dead on the bed, and he thought he was going to die. And what does he do? You know the shot I'm talking about, man. It's so powerful. It's only like 3 seconds, but he comes and just lays on the bed.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit. He's like, if I'm gonna die, bury me with my PGs. This is it.
Yeah.
That was
It was
touching,
at that point in the movie that I wouldn't have been surprised if they would have killed the kid.
They did kill the kid, though. What do you mean? Oh, you talking about like director-wise, like film?
Yeah.
And here's the crazy part about it. They say the kid died. They did say survived by his father. So the reason why I chose Mackay Pfeiffer was for this reason, is because of the fact that, to me, it deals with what you talked about before. He had depression issues and issues psychologically that were never dealt with, and that's not talked about in the black community. Too many times when they talk about drugs or opioid addiction and things like that, it's when it expands. You've seen this. It's when it expands to the popular, not even the popular community, just the masses. It's like the Tuskegee experiment all over again with rail tails and things of that nature. When they tested those airmen for syphilis and things of that nature, it's like they don't talk about the psychological aspect. It was sometimes saying, you can say more without saying it. We never heard one thing about Mitch's dad. Not one time in this film that they even even hint towards it. Yeah. That means that even from the screenplay there was no mention of it. It's like so to me, okay, boom, he's dealing with that, not having a dad. So guess what? He got to feel like he the man. Money got to be here, because what I would not do, I ain't gonna be hungry. Mom ain't gonna be hungry. Sonny ain't gonna be hungry. Nope. And if you notice, they call ice for a reason. That's a term for a drug. Ice, you know what I'm saying? So that's happening right there. So he's dealing with that there. Then, so he got to be hard. That's why he was so hard on the street. When you think about it, like Mitch was somebody you be a friend with, but also you like, when it's time to ride, this motherfucker will not let it. You know why? Because it's stuff he hasn't dealt with. He doesn't realize when I go kill this motherfucker that f***ed up the block because they handling business, which I'm taking this money to feed my family and Sonny. I can go away for 7 to 8 years. They never show how long they going away. So to me, when the guy said earlier that they didn't delve it out the right way, I'm like, no. It should be up until our interpretation. I'm looking at Mitch deal with having to handle this business at home, depression, be out on the streets, and then have the addiction to the Jay-Z says it best. Fame is the worst drug known to man. It's stronger than heroin. You can look in the mirror and be like, cause like when you say it's like that, to me, that's why and to me, I'm being honest with you. You got Mackay Pfeiffer on ER. I told you, we talked about this probably a week ago. The best performance I had seen him do was in O. But then when we came to this, I'm like, man, are you fucking kidding me? Like, as much as he knew, and
that scene in the car where he had like
no, thank you. So I can get this quote off. This motherfucker says, hey, hold on, here it is, because I wrote this down. I was like, oh, we got to talk about this. This motherfucker says, because I want this. I don't give a if you show me looking at this paper. Hold on. When Mackay Pfeiffer drops the best line of his life, ironically from a guy that used to work on ER, when he found out they sent him Sonny's finger, he says, yo, I'm about to be on some straight up murder shit. I'm telling you, Ace. Like, I'm like, oh, I believe you.
Yeah.
I forgot I was watching the movie again. I believed him.
Yeah.
He was ready to end it all, bro. And I was just, again, that's the pressure not being dealt with. Sonny's gone. He's failed at the one thing he can control. So to me, Mekhi Phifer, again, every actor couldn't have done this, but what they did was they gave him a big play and said, let me see how you digest this. I think they meant for Ace to be the star and be the one, and I agree with everything. He's the chess player that he is, but God damn it, Mekhi Phifer, I'm sorry, I'm Brian. I got to do what I can to get you on this board for this one, brother. Whatever I got to do, man. Mekhi, you my guy.
How we breaking this one down?
As far as what?
As far as who goes on the board.
How many? I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be fair. I wanted to be really fair. You're right. We got to figure out who. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. I know what it is. Not fair. I really want Mekhi, man, but it has to be fair because I know you really want Woods. All right, I know how to do it. We'll be completely biased. And I swear, if you let me down, I'm putting your ass on child support.
Hello.
Real quick question. I only need you for 5 seconds. You are being recorded. Tell me this. Acting wise, Mekhi Phifer or Woods Harris?
What hair?
Damn it! All right, bye. You will not make this episode. Bye. All right, on the board this week we have Mr. Woods Harris,
And he's so cool about it. He's not even getting flashy about it. He's not pulling a gun out or shooting it up in the
I
air.
will say
He's
this is
just-
the one time where I didn't get what I wanted, but I'm okay with it
cool.
because Mekhi Phifer knows he's going to be in our next film that we write together after Black Canyon.
Welcome to the board, Mr. Harris.
I mean, he was in left side. Remember Titans, man. Hey, we got to give it to him. Come on, PD, you all right? PD. Hey, IMDb over here, man.
All right, let's move on to you are going to need
You think
a
she heard what I
bigger
said?
a
Like,
what?
do you think she heard the names I said?
Yes.
I should have had you call.
No,
I should have had you
because
call
she-
Angela. I should have had you call Angela.
No, because she said she didn't say option A or option B. She said Wood Harris.
I don't think she heard me say Mekhi, but we're with Woods. Congratulations. Go ahead.
All right, you are gonna need a bigger boat. So what? Well, I got three best lines. Yeah, three. No, four. I got four lines.
All right, I'm gonna go in first on this one since you went first with the last one. All right, so
I had a lot more than 4 lines, but a lot of the lines that I would have wrote down, there were so
many things you couldn't say.
Yes. Yes.
And you know how you were gonna say that because I'm like he's gonna have such a hard time with this. To me, I couldn't even get. I don't even think I'm 4 minutes into the film till I'm like, who the is this guy? Like, if I didn't know who a rapper was, yet again, we've named Woods Harris and we talked about Mekhi. I think we've done all three of the characters justice, but it's Rico. Top 3 lines here, and I may be paraphrasing. We don't paraphrase on quotes, but this motherfucker, like, he's trying to tell a story at the beginning of the movie. He was like, "Yo, man, so check it out." Like, no, what y'all doing? Like, nah, that. Listen to the story. So I'm at my man's birthday party. Guess what I do, yo? Nigga, it's like a cake, nigga. I go get and like it's his birthday, right? I check this, nigga. And I just mush it all in the motherfucker's face. Like, it just tripped me out. Like, everybody talking about I'm bugging it. You know, so can you believe that shit? And Ace is like, yeah, nigga, because you bugging.
Yeah.
The f you doing? The f wrong with you?
Yeah, all in his face.
Yeah, but again, because he's a kid. Rico's a kid mentality, man.
And that just set it up right from the very beginning that he takes joy in just f***ing somebody else's shit
Oh,
up.
yeah.
No respect. Yeah, he has a complete disrespect for anybody around him.
Yeah, no matter who it is.
I'll go with my first line is I'll keep it in the Rico vein, and we kind of brought it up already that what's the point in having soldiers if you can't use them?
Ooh,
That
thank you.
is,
So you did hear him say that?
Oh yeah, that was such a telling moment for who he is as a person. He is he would be a ruthless dictator if given the chance, and a terrible one to live under.
That regime would be horrible.
Yeah.
All right, for me, if I had to go back again, it was for when he him and Rico, how did you make this? See, this was not Rico's line. It's when the guy, one of the funny moments in the film, this guy tells this like a 2-minute story, and then Ace asks him, man, how long you been out? He was like, oh man, you didn't hear that, and I ain't even here right now. So that's he said he's telling the story basically about how Mitch and Rico got hooked up, and he says so like this is true to that game you used to play when you were a kid to like tell this person this, tell this person this. By the time it gets to the other person, it's something else. By the time it got to this guy, he said, man, I'm telling you, and this kid, yo, this Panamanian cat load, like the Spanish dude Rico, yo, dude had like 10 razors up his ass, and I'm like, the this dude just said 10 razors up his ass. Like, who's writing this? That could not have been, that was improv, but hey, that was the improv of the movie for me.
Yeah.
10 razors up his ass.
I kind of brought this up too already, damn it, but it's so good I'll say it again. When Ace is telling Rico, he's like, I'm out. I've been shot in the head, baby. That's like, he says it so, like it was just, it was a funny, not funny moment. But again, it goes back to Wood Harris's delivery of just being able to take something like that and have it so multi-dimensional as far as it's a sad moment, it's somber, but his delivery is just like, it's tickling.
It's tickling, but what was funny to me, because me and my friends still use this line. This is how like synonymous this line is. So we got the line from the movie. You've never heard me say this, but I know me and my other friends, we've used this before. It's the same scene, but it's prior to that. Like, you see, first off, they're all in there, and it shows you Rico's selfishness. It shows you Mitch's concern, because as much as Mitch loves money, he loves his friend more, and that's shown several times.
Yeah.
But like, you see Ace sitting there with his big ass tampon pad on his head and a bandage from the 70s on his neck, and it's like within the first 30 seconds you hear Rico say, hey, yo, man, niggas get shot every day, B. Like, what the did you just say?
You'll be fine.
But was that not foreshadowing? Like, hey, nigga, I'll kill you too. He was to Mitch.
Yeah, it's like, nothing to him.
It's nothing to him. Like, yeah, he's never the one getting shot. Again, Slytherin. He's a snake. That's all I'm trying to say. Harry Potter, play me J.K. Robbins, give me some fucking money for this. But yeah, so to me, when he drops that line, like, niggas get shot every day, B, to me, to him, he's that, like you say, he's such a wild card to where he knows there's only two ways for him to go out. Either killing somebody or getting killed. And the unfortunate part was he wound up snitching. And it was not a Rico thing to do.
Yeah.
Yo, he really thinks he's coming home. That's the crazy part about it too. Because at the end of the movie, they show you like like that's what I meant to bring up earlier. They call it. It's first off, the movie opens up in Harlem. What you don't realize, the very first sound we hear, who do we hear? You know who we hear rapping?
Who's that?
It's Eric B. and Rakim, and the song is paid in full.
Mm-hmm.
So they first off paid money for that. That happens.
Master plan.
Yeah, there you go. So that happens. Now, so when that happens, as far as it started in Harlem and all the what was I talking about? Damn it. Damn it, this All right, we're just gonna keep moving forward. But definitely, what we're talking about, Rico?
I got nothing but sweat inside my hand.
Oh, you all right, yeah, all right. So your turn.
Still coming up with lint. Like,
oh, you man. You.
My. All right, I got two more. When Ace says there's really not a whole lot to do with Lucky, me going to work right now, don't call me Lucky. That line was good to me, and it just falls into his whole running theme with him wanting to be called Ace. Some people call him, what, Junior? Is that what it was?
Junior, Ace and Lucky.
But he always the same way, just don't call me that. It's Ace.
But if you look, not even but, I'll say and, because I hate the conjunction but, because it means like I'm finna go against what you said. No, and in addition to what you were saying, if you notice, first and foremost, mothers everywhere slap their sons around the world after he did that. Don't call me Lucky.
Yeah.
You see my mom come in every time. Like,
but the crazy thing is there's nothing lucky about me going to work right now. That day turned out to be a lucky day for him. That was the day that what's his f***ing nuts, the head, no, the day that Calvin went down
to jail,
and he got his big break to start making.
But no,
money.
not only that's the day that Calvin went down. That's also when he found the coke in Lulu's pocket.
Yes, it was the lucky day. Yeah, it was just it was an ironic line, but even by itself, it was.
But if you think about it, not even think about it. To me, even furthermore, what delves out that is the fact that when he says. They showed that Ace was always about money. Even when he think about this, like it's like winning the lottery. You're not gonna go back to your job. He kept his job. But with that being said, even when Mr. Pitts found out, even after that happened, like after they had that exchange, like he's like, go ahead, live your life, whatever. He was like, all right. Like 99% of people to walk, that this motherfucker said, I still want my $75 on Friday.
Yeah.
That should have been one of my top lines. Like, dude, I know I'm finna go sell drugs and make a lot. Like, he literally made like $300-$400 in one night. Like, hey, on Friday, I still want my 75. And then even Pitts up here said $75. Ain't that because he knew what he was about to do.
Yeah.
But notice one other thing. Pitts ain't tried to. He ain't say you're gonna be dead in jail because even Pitts knew like no matter what Ace do, Ace gonna be good because he ain't no flashy type of dude. Because even though he was selling drugs from Mr. Pitt's spot, he didn't want to still up Mr. Pitt's spot. He was still hiding. And Mr. Pitts found it because he dropped those tickets. So he was still protecting the board.
Yeah.
That's why I chose Ace for the best actor in this film.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't care how he ends up on the board. He's up there. That's fine.
Ace is up there. Woods Harris, if you need him, gentlemen and ladies.
My last line is it's one of the first lines in the movie after Ace gets jumped, or you just see the door close in the beginning, and then you hear a ruckus happening inside, and then it cuts to him on
that ruckus could have been
the
much
stretcher.
louder, to be honest with you. I know we're gonna get the things we could have changed later, but like it's like, come on, dude, who's the sound mixer on this? Make the ruckus louder.
But when he's on the stretcher and the paramedic says, "Who did this to you?" and his response is, "I did."
I couldn't even hear that. You heard that?
Yeah.
I had the TV blast. I watched this 10 times.
That's
that's
tells
powerful.
you so
Yes.
much about his character. Like that was such a like you knew that you're dealing with somebody who takes responsibility, who has regret for the whatever they're about to get into when the movie goes back in time and you see what led him here. You already know that he regrets his decision and he takes full responsibility for whatever happened, regardless of who was on the other side of the door. When you come to find out later, you hear it from the victim himself, from Ace, that and really the guy that this whole movie is based on wrote it. So these are his words, actually, that "Who did this to you? I did." So I thought that was powerful to have that kind of responsibility.
Powerful. And that's why I said I don't have a problem with you. I know we're joking about it, but I have no problem with you choosing Woods Harris because if you notice, like, even throughout the whole film, even when he started getting money, he was still never flashy. Like, maybe the cars did change. And you can just tell he's just a fan of cars because Mitch had been selling Mitch had been selling drugs for years and Ace never did it. It was only he only complimented, he never, he said, I see you shining, but it was when he got that with the gold BBSs and the car, he's a car fan. But other than the car, like, even when his mans got out, like the first time I saw the movie, I thought he bought that car for Mitch, but he didn't. He bought it for himself, but he was like, man, just take it. Yeah. Like, because to him, it was all about family being family and everybody eating it, which goes back to your point, that scene, one of your top scenes is when he found out Mitch died. It's like, damn, like, wait a minute, I wasn't prepared for this, but you hitting me here. And that's hurtful, man.
Yeah. All right, you got any other lines?
Just the one I brought up earlier, the callback to when you're a funny guy. Because to me, I've always like callbacks. You brought up the Scarface callback. They definitely clearly love Scarface, and to me, even the Scarface callback is to most rappers, like even from the black rapper Scarface who calls himself Scarface. A lot of rappers reference it because again, what they can relate with is not a white guy rising to power. They can relate with an immigrant, somebody not from here because we were stolen and brought here. He was however he got here. They call them wetbacks. They call us. Well, you know what they call us. I don't have to say that. You don't even have to bleep that part out. It's been said enough. But with that being said, it's just kind of like, damn, like that's why they resonated with it. So to me, that was just it. Like I love the callbacks in it. And again, we mentioned I'm the only person, or we're the only show to reference Paid in Full and Harry Potter. There you go, internets.
All right.
Guys, you know what time it is. Time for Cast, Crew, and You. And with that being said, this week, it's not a special surprise. It's not a bad surprise. It's just to your demise. Bring them in, David.
Our guest today is a multi-award winning cinematographer and director, Paul Sarossy. Paul has over 3 decades of experience behind him, and when we say multi-award winning, I assure you that is no overstatement. If you go to Paul's Wikipedia, there is not a year that passes where he isn't bringing home a handful of awards for his work behind the camera. And his future appears to be just as focused. This interview nearly didn't make this episode because Paul is actually in production as we speak, but thankfully, he has very graciously given us his lunch break to take some time to talk with us about his very impressive career. You've seen many great films through Paul's eyes throughout your life, we assure you. He's worked on movies like Picture Perfect, The Sweet Hereafter, Rocky Marciano, Duets, The Wicker Man, Where the Truth Lies, Charlie Bartlett, Devil's Knot, The Captive, Guest of Honor, and of course Paid in Full. With so much insight to offer and so little time to get into everything, let's dive right in. What was it like working with Charles Stone III, the director there?
Well, it's interesting. Speaking of first-time director, this was a case where the roles were reversed, and this was his first long film. I mean, he was great to work with, uh, and I had to be flexible to take into account that this is a new environment for him, and a lot of things were uh, 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 aspects of filmmaking that he'd never encountered before. And just the number of people involved in doing every little thing, and I'm sure for him that was quite an adjustment to wrap his head around. And but all that being said, he very soon became the captain of the ship, and it was great. And so it was a role where I had to, on the one hand, support and be there for him, and yet be careful not to overstep, because he was learning the ropes, and he's so gifted. It wasn't a difficult job for him.
You would think that most great directors, they want to have a circle of people around them that are, like you say, someone like yourself, to still garner the knowledge, but say, hey, this is still your show to run. And again, I know you guys were shooting in New York. One of the things I talked to him about visually, like but we both said it so much, like we felt like we were there. And one of the scenes that I brought out to him, well, I don't know if it was you or whoever thought about it. There's two scenes, and I know this was years ago, but it stands out to me. There's a scene where Mekhi Phifer's character Mitch and James Woods' character's Ace, they're at two different times in the film, they're looking out a way, but what they're looking at, whether it's in their room or their home, it appears to just be a normal door. But to me, it felt like a jail cell. Like they knew that there was no way to get out, and things of these natures, a pull away shot. And I'm just like, man, whoever sat there and thought about it, whether it's you and the director, however y'all got the shot, it takes a group of people to visually get something like that done. And so I want to tell you guys kudos on that aesthetic. So what was it like shooting in New York and to be able to get all these great shots?
And of course, he means Wood Harris, not James Woods.
I'm sorry. Oh my, I never mess up. This is my first time Woods Harris. Forgive me.
Oh, yeah. No, it's. I mean, it's a funny situation that occurs a lot in Toronto, where Toronto doubles for New York or Chicago, or it's just the nature of so many American films that shoot in Toronto, because Toronto is fairly similar to a lot of American films cities. So the accent of local actors, whatnot. It's a very frequent thing, but it was a big challenge, particularly for the Meher Ahmed, the production designer, that there's almost nowhere in Toronto that is like Harlem. So obviously it was super key to be able to actually go to the real place, see the real buildings, the real people. It lended an authenticity that would have been impossible if the entire film was shot in Toronto. So, Toronto, of course, to a large extent, the things that we're shooting there are the interiors, and so the important thing is how to translate, how to bring Harlem to Toronto, how to make, like you say, that door or that hallway, or so that was where there was a lot of discussion and planning and visual references that were used to help everybody reproduce that world. And one thing that was specifically and very visually integral to the whole thing was we were talking a lot about being in these apartments where the blinds are drawn, and you're in this kind of almost womb-like environment, and it's very dim and whatnot, and that was something we were hoping to achieve and replicate, as that was very much something that came from the real place, even though we were sort of reinventing it. So it's definitely the trick of filmmaking to try to integrate both something that's very real and something that's trying to be real.
You guys paid off the phrase "movie magic, love, movie magic."
Yeah, and the way the cinematography in that movie walks the line of realism and like abstract sometimes is very interesting. You don't see that in a lot of like many urban films don't dare to delve into the abstract too much as visually. We have a little bit of a rivalry going on here between who the standout actor is in the film, between Mekhi Phifer as Mitch and Wood Harris as Ace. I just wanted to ask you, if it were up to you, who would the award go to between those two?
Well, they were both amazing, and but I guess I really got along with Mackay. He's such a gentleman, and that's only and I'm
You don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize for the truth. It's okay.
He's obviously Team Mekhi.
Well, I mean, they're very different people, and Mackay is one of those people who can just turn it on, turn it off, and he's a very, very lovely person. And Wood is much more, stays always in character and very focused. So, obviously, I'm biased by the just the personal connection, but I mean, they're both amazing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. No, you were thanking him for he's on my side.
I'm just thanking him for the honesty. So,
all right. So okay, all right. So before we go from that, are there any other thoughts you want to lend to the production? Like you said, it was years ago. Clearly, you've done a lot of projects. But again, one of the things I told him, because he had never seen the film before, and I said, "Listen, we're very transparent." Which I was like, "This is not a black film. It's a film about things that are happening in Black America. Trust me, it's a big difference." I say, "Listen, from the budget they had to how it was made, to me, it's a standalone. I put it in a classic genre because it just feels good to me." So, did you have any other thoughts or any takeaways from the production when you were there?
Yeah, well, it's funny with this film, with Paid in Full, with every film, you're not really conscious of its impact or its importance or its position in culture when you're doing it. You're basically going shot by shot, problem solving, figuring things out, having to be flexible because everything is not what was planned or discussed. And you just feel happy to have relatively successfully managed to survive from beginning to end, and hopefully that you're a little bit proud of the work that's been done. And I would say that film, like any other film, had that, and it was very enjoyable to go through that process.
Paul, once again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. Folks can follow your work at paulsarossy.com. I'll put the link up in the description, as well as Instagram at SarahCP. That'll also be in the description. We definitely encourage you to check it out. And Paul, can you tell us, last question, what you have coming up and that people should look out for?
Well, there's a film called Guest of Honor that I did last year, and it's I think it's out now, or it may have done. I mean, now it's such a weird thing in COVID land. Films, what a release constitutes is kind of hard to describe. But anyhow, it's a film that I did recently with the director I talked about earlier, Adam Agoyan, who we've done many films over the years, and this is our latest film together.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Check out Guest of Honor. I'll also find a link and put that in there as well. Again, Paul, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. I assume you're getting back behind the camera.
Yeah, in a few moments. Well, thank you very much.
And
it was a pleasure.
Godspeed, sir. Godspeed.
Bye. Bye-bye.
That brings us to our next segment, Dirty, which is room for improvement. Now, when it comes to this, Dave, for me, my room for improvement would have been this. I'm going to steal the first shot at saying this because it goes along with what you said in our last week's episode, which was, to me, I'm actually doing what I accused you of doing about 25 minutes ago. I am contradicting myself from last week and using something you said to honor home my point. Between the, like, if anything, for me, and I don't want to get too much into it because I know we're getting the Fxxks Given, but for me, between the cinematography, the story writing, the acting, like, to me, it had me there. It's had me there. Like, I'm right there and I'm about to explode or something like that. And then they spoon feed me the ending. Like, I don't need to know that part. I don't need to know that the game didn't change. I got the diamonds, and now I put a down payment on life. We were right there. I didn't need you to wrap it up for me. I was good with Rico getting up at the end from like Ace, like you said. Rico would have said I went out like a sucker, but that.
Yeah,
So
if
to
they
me-
would have ended it on the basketball court,
Oh,
that
that-
would have been
oh.
perfect.
Oh,
Because that would have been
yeah.
true to the main character of
Right.
Ace, just quiet, subtle.
Even had a gun on him, and you never
Oh
knew
yeah,
it.
and that would have been perfect to let you know that all your suspicions were correct, that he was doing that to turn him in. There was so much beautifully implied, but it was like somebody in the writers' room were like, "There's gonna be people that don't get it. Let's just give them this one scene at the end that lets them know that this actually happened." Like, nah, it should
I
have
love
ended
what you
right
said
there.
there. I think that's a term we should copyright, beautifully implied. Let it be artistically and beautifully implied to the point to where that's what filmmaking is. I don't.
And trust that you did it effectively enough.
Did they
that
not
you
do
don't
enough
have
delving
to
of the
pull-
characters, the
Yeah.
whole film for us? Like they made within 30 minutes, we clearly cared about Mitch and Ace, and even 45 minutes in, you loved Rico for being that Doc Holliday character.
Yeah. Yep. I would have changed. I wanted more, but
More than 90 minutes.
yes, in a way. So I feel like as great as the movie was, it felt rushed a lot of the times. I felt like they were rushing through a lot of.
Well, explain that because
pivotal
I'm confused. Because earlier you said you liked the pacing,
The-
and now you're saying you feel like it's rushed.
the pacing was great. How they took, like, on a micro level or on a macro level, the pacing was great. How they, you have these events transpiring, and the way they chose to put the events in order, out of order, that was that. So it's not really the pacing as much as it is the Quentin Tarantino-ing of certain moments in the movie. That was good, but that same formula could have been applied to. I think this would have been much better served as a TV series, like on Showtime or HBO.
Something like The Shy, or as you brought up earlier, The Wire with
Yeah,
Avon Barksdale
or
and James
Breaking Bad, where you watch
Wood.
somebody.
Dude, they would have had me locked in for like 7
because
seasons.
Ace is the perfect story of like watching this
That character
normal
arc.
kid turn into, and then you have like in the movie itself all these pivotal moments that are just kind of glossed over or quickly because they had to get on to the next thing, like Mitch going to prison, like that could have been finale of season 1, and then Mitch dying could have been finale season 2. It didn't have to be a long
Can I
stretched
give you
out
a fun
thing.
fact?
Yeah.
First off, before I give you the fun fact, let me say that I 155 million% agree with what you're saying because I've never looked at it that way. I've watched this movie a bunch of times, and I agree with you. After watching The Wire, The Shy, Oz, and things like that, I agree with you 100%. This could have been a series, and it would have been more successful as a series. There's always a connection between all our films, between composure, scenes, callbacks. To me, you mentioned something earlier. James Woods was in what prior to this? You named a couple of things, but I said what? The Wire.
Are you talking about Wood Harris?
No, James Wood.
James Woods is that old white guy from
Thank you
Vampires.
so much. Yet again, I've been trying to get him all
I'll-
episode. Guys, he is so
In Vampire, this vampire will bend you over and take a walk up your strata chocolata.
okay. And no one thought we were going to do that episode today. But no, again, thank you. I've been trying to get him all episode, and clearly he cannot be gotten. So Woods Harris. Woods Harris, I told you earlier in the film, played a character by the name of Avon Barksdale in what popular HBO series?
The Wire.
Correct. Do you know what 11-year-old was in that?
No.
The same child that was in The Living Wait.
What? Get the out of here.
B. Jordan got his start on The Wire, and that's
Oh,
100% factual.
Okay.
You can IMDb me. I'll bet my next month's salary on that one. Yeah, he got started in that, and that's what's crazy. Like when Woods Harris was that dude, and also I'm sorry, have you ever heard of this guy? You might have heard of him. I don't know his name. Idris Elba.
Oh yeah, I think
So
I
we got
heard
Idris
that name
Elba,
before.
Woods Harris, we got Michael B. Jordan. Like to me, other like The Wire and The Oz, as far as HBO concerned, and Dream On. That's my childhood nostalgia coming back, or like my top 3 HBO shows. I'm sorry, True Blood. All right, move Dream On out for True Blood. True Blood, The Wire, and Oz are my top 3 HBO shows ever. HBO, are y'all still out there? Give us a deal? Where the is HBO at?
Yeah,
Where's the home box office?
And when they're talking about doing a sequel, a sequel. Remakes are all the rave right now. So take a movie from 2002 based on something that happened in the 80s and give it the Karate Kid treatment instead of
Like Total Recall.
I'm talking
Yeah.
like instead instead of doing a sequel, go back and do the movie, but do it based
Modernized
on
version of the movie.
and
which
do
sucks.
and do it based on Faison's original script that is probably that actually spans 7 years.
No,
instead of
don't go back
condensing
and
it.
do a movie. Go back and do a series, as you
Yeah,
mentioned
that's
earlier. And
what I'm
furthermore,
saying. That's what
no,
I'm
go
saying.
back and let us write and direct and do the series, and we'll show you how it's supposed to be done. This is our pitch for Paid in
go
Full.
back to the original source material instead of doing a sequel. Go back to his original script and flesh that out over 7 years.
It's called, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot the name of the street, but it's something in 125th Street is the name of the original screenplay. And I did my research on that. So all I'm saying is HBO, Showtime, FX, if you're looking for somebody to make you bang for your buck, hire us. We're cheap now, and we'll do maybe 4 seasons. We promise you only something better than Power.
And you can probably get Cameron for like a whole season for like
16,000.
Yeah.
Because he did one movie. And guess what, Cam?
I was going to say 1,600.
Well, I mean, hey, I respect him too much for that, dude. We're going to at least get you 50,000. Pesos.
Yeah, okay. Oh, he's gonna shoot you in the ass, pull you out of the car.
Well, you know, with Cam, drip, pink drip.
All right, so with all that said, let's move on to Fxxks Given. How much do we Fx with Paid in Full?
I give this movie 4.
4 out of 5.
5.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because to me, to be honest with you, out of all the films that we have reviewed this season, to me, I give it 4, but it's the only 4 I've given because this is the most well-rounded film I think we have. I know that we've reviewed thus far. Because here's the thing, the acting. We couldn't even. We used to have a subject called worst art, the Razzie or the whatever. Mm-hmm. There was no person that I felt took from this film, from the store owner or anything like that. Like as far as acting wise, they got these characters correct to me. Cinematography, forget A+. Blocking, forget A+. Like above, like you're talking about the Juilliard level, the person that has a home studio that nobody knows about. That's just an artistic, beautiful mind genius.
It kind of felt like a John Singleton movie at times.
I would say Singleton mixed with Scorsese. Yeah, that would be for me. So to me, like I say, so
Charles Stone the third.
The director. If we didn't, I'm sorry if I didn't get this correct. Charles Stone the third, the director of Drumline.
Yeah. So yeah, that's.
By the way, rest in peace to my friend Sam. He called out the one shot one of the shots. There's not a lot of shots in Drumline you got wrong, but there's a shot like 91 minutes into the film, or should I say 91% of the film, where the 2 drum lines are battling each other, and Nick Cannon is not allowed to play because it's actually shot for sound versus visual, and you see Nick Cannon doing this while the rest of the drummers are doing this. That's not your fault, Charles Stone III, but I'm just simply saying my best friend Sam wanted me to tell you about that, and rest in peace to my best friend. Thank you.
I give this one 3 and it mainly I agree with everything you said. Great performance, great writing, great shooting.
Where did they lose the other 2 middle fingers at?
The pacing. I felt like it. I felt like
the pacing earlier.
And I explained earlier
in a macrocosm.
Yeah, and they did a good job. Delivering the scenes they had.
Let me ask you this: have you seen bigger budgeted films not perform the cinematography that they've done?
No, the cinematography was great. The attention to detail, the atmosphere, everything was great. I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see 60 minutes of this a week for a few years. I want to see these characters fleshed out, and the fact that they took a story that could have been done with. And in their defense, this was 2002. TV wasn't really where you went to for hard-hitting dramas that were like edgy. True. So I give them that, but now is the time. Like that, this would be such a great series to flesh out.
So what you're saying is that we should direct, AD, do the sound. We should be a part of this series when we pitch this to HBO or Showtime or FX. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll do it.
So we started this show initially to get YouTube involved, and YouTube, if you don't want to get on board, that's fine, because we're just going to pitch this idea. Like, we're now having this moment, like, to quote Spaceballs, everything that's happening now is happening now. So when we give our pitch meeting to write the original screenplay for a series for HBO based off Paid in Full, you guys are going to come to us. We're sitting here Rico'd out. And now my child's mother and his child's mother, his wife, can be happy for us. Out of all the films we've done, we were obviously meant to just do this series and just get paid off of it. So we'll see you guys in about 2 years.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. That concludes this week's episode.
David, we're short on subscribers. I'm trying to get about 50 more subscribers. Could you do me a favor real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Could you stand up and show them your belly? But give it to them, dude. This is for the subscribers. I want you guys to subscribe.
No, here's the thing.
I already have my bid. You know what I'm going to do.
I will do that when we reach 250 subscribers. Then I will unveil the belly button.
Because I know what I have to do at 1,000.
I'm not just going to give it away for nothing.
Right. Okay.
For 146 when 75% of you
giving
are...
this away.
Yeah, we are giving it away.
And only 25% of these people are subscribing. So what should they hit?
Subscribe.
How do you spell that?
SUBSCRIBEN.
God. He said I sound like an old man saying what I said last week. He just took 13 seconds to spell subscribe.
And hit the BELL so you get the NOTA FICATIONS.
Put it this way. How about the SUB instead of being an SOB?
Yes, exactly. You do that. So, yeah, hit subscribe. Don't be one of those 75% that are just over here lurking in the corner, not revealing yourself. Be one of the 25% that are supporting the cause.
I want to ask one more question.
Sure.
David.
Yeah.
Where can they subscribe?
Have a good week, everybody.
We're going to get the off this stoop. Not this way, that way.
Hey, man. Hey, if you're going to get paid in full. You see me hit the Dougie on that. You see me hit the Dougie on that.
Go the other way.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
hell yeah, bro. Oh, great show, brother.
That's the trailer.